All right, ladies and gentlemen, back week 9, Tipsy Tailgate Media here. I'm Aiden.
I am Ben.
And as you guys are going to notice with this episode, we are proud to announce our sponsorship with Underdog Fantasy. Genuinely our favorite fantasy sports app in the entire market. It is such a cool app. We recommend you guys go ahead and try it. We're going to drop a little ad read at some point throughout this episode, but just wanted to get that out there. It's a great app. We're so happy for our partnership throughout the rest of the NFL season. So make sure to check it out. Use promo code TIPSY as you'll see on the screen. And without further ado, let's get into some week 9 NFL games. It's some interesting stuff here, right? Not the best slate, but there are some good games. It's kind of weak games versus like best games we've maybe seen all year. Some of those games include the Dolphins at the Chiefs, which is going to be expected to be a little shootout there. There's going to be Seahawks, Ravens, Commanders, Patriots. Had to sneak that one in there. Cowboys, Eagles.
I don't know why. I have no clue why you felt the need to squeak that one in there.
Cowboys, Eagles is going to be a showdown. Bills, Bengals, and one more we'll touch on at the end. So some pretty good games. We're not going to touch on all of them this week. We're just going to go with the marquee games. And first, I want to start, though, with a betting record check-in. So far in the season, we both took a little bit of a beating this past week, me and Ben. I am now 25, 20, and 2 on the season. The 2 at the end is 2 pushes. And then Ben is 18, 22, and 1 on the season. Both of us we had our first negative. Both of us were under 500. First time since week 3, maybe week 2. We've been hot.
Man, it happens. It happens once in a while. You can't win every week. You can't. The Pats have been teaching us that all year. You can't win every week.
Or any week.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't win. Sometimes you just don't win.
Sometimes
you can't catch a break. Sometimes every Sunday is just a miserable experience. So, I mean, hey, at least we're not the Pats. At least we're not the worst thing to ever happen to sports. So,
hey, is it baseball season yet? I need some Red Sox baseball.
No, it is not. But it is actually hockey season, which is good.
You got the bees. It's exciting.
No, not really. But by the hand of God, they're 9-0-1. I don't know how, or 8-0-1 rather. I don't know how. It's not deserving. They're not a very good team. On paper, they are dog shit. When they play, they're dog shit. Yet they somehow find a way to win. So regardless, they're 8-0-1. I'm not impressed at all.
You don't sound impressed.
I'm not impressed. I was lucky enough to be there when they blew the series against the Panthers in Game 7. And since then, from that moment on, from that car ride home on, I have decided that I will never love that team again. And it's ironic for me to say that, given the fact that I am wearing a Boston Bruins hat. But that's besides the point. As I say during moments like these, I don't need your logic. I need my anger and I need my emotions. I'm kind of
it's valid.
I'm kind of ignoring the logic right now of the fact that I do enjoy that team. I'm kind of trying to block it out. But thank God for the Celtics, who
basketball's back.
They could win the championship. Look, if they sack up for the first time in 5 years and actually get it done at Jason Tatum. But they did drop 155 yesterday, so let's give them a little bit of credit. Okay. That was pretty impressive.
Okay, my Nuggets get a hot start too.
Maybe what?
Maybe we'll see each other.
This is how last season went. It's just a repeat of that already. Bruins start out hot. Celtics are hot the whole year. Do either of them go all the way? No. They just lose in home game 7s. I guess that's what we do now. As long as you go to TD Garden, you're playing a home game 7, you're going to lose. You're going to lose.
Maybe the Brady curse just took over all of
Boston. No, I don't think that's it.
No.
I really don't. I think it's more of a Bill Belichick curse right now. He has taken a dump all over the city of Boston. He has shown little to no respect for me personally, my family, my dear friends. So yeah, I'm kind of, for a fan of an 8-0-1 team, I'm sounding a little negative, but they won't make the playoffs.
A little negative.
They won't make the playoffs.
So, and then talking about the Patriots, we got our Pats pick check-ins for the season. I am 3-5. Ben is 4-4. Both of us were correct that they would lose last week, and they did. Uh, and then going into this week's games, let's start it off with the Dolphins going down to Kansas City and playing the Chiefs. The Chiefs are 2-point favorites at home, which is to be expected. I mean, coming off that bad loss, they're still the Chiefs. They're still at home. 51 is the over-under in this game. I think this one's interesting, all right? Obviously, there's a lot going on with Tyreek Hill going back to Kansas City. I mean, a little bit of a chip on the shoulder game for sure, as if he needs one. And so that's going to be an interesting little reunion to see, which gives the Dolphins a little bit more firepower. Obviously, they're a little bit banged up, a little bit more banged up than the Chiefs at least. And the Chiefs have just been a little bit underwhelming. The weapons are not the best. I don't know why you go ahead or you don't go ahead and grab a receiver, someone like a Mike Evans, someone
Yeah,
like
because they're
DeAndre
stupid,
Hopkins.
Aiden. They're stupid. That's why they're
Yeah,
dumb.
I don't get it. I really don't get it. Even like a cheap guy for what, a 5th-round pick, Hunter Renfro or something. But we're going to touch on that at the end. We're going to go into some NFL storylines and what teams screwed up the most by not trading, and what teams are in
I
the
know
what
one
franchises
team
are
that
in the
I'm going to
worst.
talk about. I know one team.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. That's coming up in a little bit. But
What's up, guys? We are proud to be partnering with Underdog Fantasy, our favorite place to play fantasy games. You gotta check out Pick'em. You gotta check out the draft. It's so easy to play. The Pick'em in specific. Just go pick out 2 to 5 stats of your favorite players or your least favorite players. Choose whether they'll go higher or lower of that stat, and you can 20x your money by going 5 for 5. Did you hear me correctly? 20x. Go ahead and play. Sounds fun, doesn't it? Download their app, Underdog Fantasy, and sign up today using code TIPSY to get your first deposit up to $100 matched. Let's see the entries and reach out to us if you do it because we want to see who our loyal fans are.
to go back to this game, I mean, Dolphins, like I said, a really hot start, slow down a little bit. Chiefs have been a little bit up and down this year so far, trying to figure it out. 2 points is the line. Chiefs are favorited at home. I think the Dolphins might pull this one out.
Oh, I agree. I
think they might pull it
I
out.
agree.
Mahomes has been very underwhelming at points, and last week was definitely one of those points.
Oh yeah,
Losing to the Broncos.
They lost to the Broncos for the first time since Peyton was the quarterback.
You're telling me Peyton wasn't the QB last week? No way.
No, it sure looked like it. It sure looked like it with the way that offense was moving the ball, especially in the first half.
I mean,
second half,
that's a double-digit loss.
Russ went back in the second half, but Peyton played the first half when they were lighting it up. That not a lot of people know that. Just some inside sourcing.
Who do you like in this game, and give me a reason why?
I like the Dolphins, and it might sound weird, but I like the Dolphins more because they're going to be out of their element, and they're the kind of team that, to me, feels like they won't really care about being so far out of your element. It all comes down to leadership for me in the NFL, and their leader, it isn't Tua, it isn't Tyreek, it isn't anybody on the defense, it's Mike McDaniel. Yeah. And he is the quirkiest motherfucker that I have ever seen in my life.
Are you coming around to him? Please, I love him. I officially love him.
What other team would be able to adapt to this kind of situation of playing in a different country than the Dolphins right now? They're going to be buzzing all over the field. It's going to be really...
I didn't even mention that. Yeah, this game is happening in Germany.
Yeah.
Which is a 9:30 game, Eastern time from where we are. But that's a good point. Continue.
Yeah, so, given how much they need to be able to adapt, and Andy Reid is pretty good at this too, don't get me wrong, but McDaniel is such a weird dude, and the kind of guy who seems that he would just kind of wrap his arms around that kind of experience and just kind of take it all in because he's a fucking freak.
Did you see what he did? The first presser of the week.
Oh yeah, he tried to make everyone laugh and they didn't laugh.
Yeah, they didn't laugh, but I think they just didn't understand what he said. But he walked out there. He walked out there and he was like, "Yes, I get it." Like something.
You thought I was going to be bigger.
Yes, I know you guys think I'm bigger in person. Like, yes, I am, or something like that. Like,
he's just a weird dude. He's a weird dude.
Yeah, he's a little weird.
We've never seen a coach like him before.
No, that's what I'm saying. We've never seen a coach like him, so that's why everyone thinks it's like very weird, and it is a little weird. But
it's weird.
Ben, I think it's perfectly, and I think I said this last week. It's just if like me or you or like any college kid, played enough Madden and all of a sudden got a head coaching job or an OC job and all of a sudden became the head coach. And now you're out there and you're just messing around, doing some crazy plays.
Yeah.
Like that's the vibe I get. And I think it's so cool.
No,
I
I'm
love
not
it.
gonna
That's how I
lie.
would be if I was a coach.
If I was on the Dolphins last year and I saw this dude in like preseason, I'd be like, what the hell have we gotten ourselves into? And then you see him coach and you're putting up 45 points a game.
Let this guy
And
cook.
you're like, oh, this guy's the man.
Fucking Tua looks like Tom Brady in 07.
Well, let's not go that far. No, that is one thing. That is one takeaway I had from this game, and it might sound surprising. Tua is not that good. He's really not.
Okay.
How many bad throws did he have on Sunday?
Yeah, no, he's always been a little spotty. He's never very consistent week to week. So
Like,
it just
congrats.
depends on what
You
you
can
get,
hit Waddle and Tyreek when they're open by 15 yards. That's what you did at Bama. We already knew you could do that. Have we seen him do something we didn't know he could do?
You make a good point.
Every deep ball he throws to Tyreek is that same fucking pattern. And the only reason I know this is because every time he does it, they show the same replay from the national championship when he threw that deep pylon throw to the left. We know he can do that. This isn't surprising. It's the same throw he's made for 4 years. Can we get over it? He's not walking on water. He's making a throw to a guy who's open by 20 yards.
So wait, I have a question for you. What do you think the biggest advantage goes to now that they're both in Germany? Who gets that advantage? Because I was saying it's in Kansas City. It's not. It's in Germany. That's my mistake. But who gets the biggest advantage? Is it Mahomes and just his consistency, or?
I think it's Miami. I think they have a better mojo going. I think they're in a better rhythm than KC is right now. That's obvious given how they were rolling last week, and then KC really wasn't. When you have a bad loss like that, like Kansas City did last week,
Okay.
the most ideal situation is you have a 1:00 game at home the next week. That's the most ideal situation. Now they have to travel across like the world essentially and go to Germany and
far.
play in a different country after that. I'd much rather be Miami in this spot than KC.
Okay. So just to confirm here, you're going Dolphins?
I am
Money
going
line
Miami.
+2. Hey,
I'll go
I
Miami
like that.
+2.
I'm on that as well. I like that. But this just does seem like the typical game where the Chiefs might go out and just, do their thing for some reason. But I think, all they added was McCole Hardman. I don't think he's a difference maker. I think Tyreek might single-handedly win this game.
He really could.
He might go for like 200 scrimmage yards.
Is this the first time he's played Kansas City?
It feels like, yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I don't think they played him last year, yeah.
Wow. I feel like that hasn't been spoken about enough.
Yeah, I definitely saw some reports. I think Tyreek actually got like semi-emotional on a podcast or something, talking about how he didn't want to leave.
I don't care.
Well, I mean, it's the right decision because, look, if he goes out there and goes like 200 all-purpose, 2 touchdowns, maybe he goes back and starts returning punts or kicks again. Can you imagine that? He's going to be a legend in Germany. And just think about like the merch opportunities, all that stuff. Like you have to realize that like there's been a lot of games in the UK. Is this the first? No.
I believe this is. Wait, did the Bucks play there? The Bucks played there last year against the Seahawks.
Okay, it's one of the first, but it's pretty much the biggest superstar that's ever played there. I feel like at least.
Well, they had Tom there last year.
Yes, but the marketing's different. Tom's already a legend in everyone's eyes. Tyreek goes out there, he could be
I don't know, man.
The game changer of a.
I see what you're saying, but me personally, I would already consider Tyreek a legend. I would.
No, I do. I agree. I love. You're not gonna find me like playing down Tyreek. I love Tyreek.
Oh, I know.
Okay, off to this next game. Seahawks are playing in the United States. They're playing. They're playing Baltimore. The Ravens are 6-point favorites at home. 44 is the over/under in this one. I think this is the temperature in the room game. We're gonna have to go with.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a bloodbath. If you're new here, temperature in the room is our weekly segment where we go through the game that's gonna be the scrappiest, the game that's gonna be the most heated, most on the line, playoff atmosphere, whatever you want to say. And this is going to be this for this week. Seahawks going to Baltimore, playing the Ravens. I think this is very, very important and very telling on the Ravens season, just because
And
the
the
Seahawks.
Seahawks. And the Seahawks.
Yeah, even both. I think the Seahawks have a chance here to really do something surprising and upset this Ravens team. It's a 6-point line. I don't know. I mean, I honestly
It's a
think
great
that
line. It's a
yeah,
great line.
yeah, exactly. I think that the Seahawks are going to keep it close. It's going to come down to their weapons being healthy. I know DK, Lockett, Kenneth Walker, they've all struggled with injuries the past few weeks. JSN has finally, arrived. If they can have those weapons healthy, I think this is a game that the Seahawks might outright win, let alone be within 6. What do you think about this one?
I'm going to take the Seahawks with the points, but I think the Ravens win. The Ravens, I've been all over them all year. I think the Ravens will come out of the AFC. I think they will be the AFC representative for the Super Bowl. I think Lamar is phenomenal, and I feel like this offense isn't quite what it's going to be. I saw a hysterical meme about it the other day. It was so good. But I'll send it to you later. Unless I already did. But I'll resend it. It was that good. You know the scene in Step Brothers where where Will Ferrell's brother is singing in the car? He's singing Sweet Child of Mine.
Yeah.
It was like they put all the players on the Ravens offense on his family. It's fucking great. I'll send it to you later.
I gotta see it.
It's actually so good. It's so good.
They are. There is some type of attitude there, atmosphere of that Ravens
They're
team.
still growing. They're not quite where
Very
they
young,
need to be.
Young team.
Which is why I think the Seahawks will make it close. But Lamar's going to make a few plays at the end of the game that help the Ravens win. Because I think this is going to be a little similar to the games that they've always had with Pittsburgh. You were kind of alluding to it before, where it's going to be a defensive battle, a real bloodbath, as you said. And I think their games with Pittsburgh have prepared them for a game like this. So
For sure.
I'm going to take the Ravens in a really close game. I'd say around 23-20, 2017, something along those lines. But yeah, I think the Ravens get it done.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how this one unfolds. I did see something. It was being talked about that if you broke down, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't super impressive. If you broke down the quarterbacks that the Ravens played this year, I'm actually gonna look at it right now. Somebody was talking down on it as if it wasn't a great slate.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at it right now. CJ Stroud in his first career NFL game. Okay. Joe Burrow. Anthony Richardson, but I think Minshew ended up finishing that game.
He did.
Deshaun, but that might have been the PJ Walker game. Kenny Pickett. Who'd they get with the Titans? Was that Tannehill still, or maybe Malik?
It was still
Tannehill,
was it the game that Tannehill started and Malik relieved him halfway through?
It could have been. It might have been, and then obviously then Goff and then Josh Dobbs. So, nothing crazy, nothing terrible. Obviously,
there was some terrible.
Yeah, some terrible. They get lucky on an injured Joe Burrow, on not a full Deshaun game, and Stroud's first start, obviously. But
who didn't seem bothered by the start of his NFL career? So honestly, I'll give them that one.
So it's not a major thing, but I mean, I don't know where Geno ranks in terms of all those quarterbacks, but he's healthy.
I wanted to
probably near the top, right?
I wanted to address this point. Nothing against Geno. I don't think last season was quite sustainable for him.
Yeah.
But he's not the same guy this year. He is not.
No, I agree.
And I don't think he's going to really... I don't think he's a problem for the Seahawks. I don't think if they miss the playoffs, he'll be the reason why. I don't see them missing the playoffs, first off. I don't see them missing. But he is not the same guy this year. And I think the Seahawks kind of need to set up a future plan at quarterback.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to love this, but one thing that I was thinking of is, if they weren't in the same division, Kyler Murray, he would be pretty electric in that offense.
It would. I mean, hey.
Same division.
He's supposed to be what Russ was on Seattle.
Exactly, but then again, I mean, if I don't know if a team like the Cardinals do go for Caleb Williams or one of their top guys. I
Right.
mean, what's the hurt of giving
I mean,
Kyler away? I mean, you know what I mean?
if
If you're
you
going to give up on
think
Kyler anyway,
right, that was what I was
so
gonna say. If
yeah.
you think low enough of Kyler to get rid of him, why wouldn't you have the sack to trade him in division? If you really
Mhm.
don't think he's that good and you don't think he's the guy, don't be scared of him. Don't
Yeah.
put your tail between your legs. Give him to the team that gives you the best offer.
And they can compensate probably, around the best in the league with what
They have
they
so
have to
many
offer.
picks.
I mean, they sent what, a 2 and a 5 for Leonard Williams, which seemed
Yeah.
to be a little much.
Yeah.
So, if they want, they can spend. So that would be interesting to see. But I think we both agree here that the Seahawks keep it close. But I think you're on the Ravens to win it. I'm just gonna be different here. It's not my official pick, but I'm gonna say Steelers here. Maybe a tipsy bowl of the
You
week
mean
candidate.
Seahawks?
Seahawks, what I say?
Steelers.
Oh boy, I got the Thursday Night Football in the bottom corner. That's
I got the bees on in the corner of my screen right now. 2-2. 2-2. They'll blow it though.
10-7 Pickett in the red zone driving.
I love Kenny. I do. I
George
think Kenny's
Pickens.
good.
There it is. Okay, and then off to this next game, Commanders at Patriots. We can be brief here. Patriots are 3-point favorites at home. 41 is the over-under.
Why? Why are they 3-point favorites? Why?
I mean, it has to be to the fact that the Commanders just traded Montez Sweat and Chase Young, but you'd think it would be more.
Okay.
They got rid of, 2 of their 3 best players on their entire
team? They will
defense,
still sack Mac 3+ times in this game. He will still get sacked 3+ times.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we can't provide any support or protection for our quarterback.
We can't provide anything. We can't provide anything.
Yeah, and now we're without our most reliable weapon this whole season. So,
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know though. I don't know. I mean, I do have to be honest though. Josh Howell has looked good recently. He looked great against the Eagles. Looked really good against the Eagles. Not that I love this Eagles defense this season. It's not the best they've been in recent years.
And the Commanders have generally had their number.
Yes, agreed. So it's something to monitor though, because this Howell offense has been pretty electric. They've been scoring some points. I don't know. I mean, I really want to go Patriots here. I don't know if there's any will to play.
You know what?
I actually, I don't know what we're gonna do on offense. Who's gonna what? I mean, Pop Douglas and Derrick Henry.
Are you gonna give the ball to Hunter every
Henry?
3 plays down the middle of the field?
That's what I'm saying. It's there's not much to work with.
Run a screen pass to Ramondre every fucking play. They have no talent.
Yeah, give me the Commanders here. I think I'm just taking every underdog.
You know what? What's my record on the Pats picks right now?
I think you are 4-4.
Not bad.
Not bad.
I'm going to take them to win. I will take the Pats to win. Not because of anything the Pats do well, because of what Washington doesn't do well.
And I mean, that locker room's got to be depleted. You just traded 2 of your best players, and
perhaps this could be a bit of an audition for Bill to go to Washington.
Yeah, that's crazy. That report
is
wild.
A wild report. Wild report. Speaking of wild reports, did you see the ones about Mac potentially going to the Vikings at the deadline?
I did see
some
of that.
They just didn't come to fruition. That would have been crazy.
I did see some of that. I think Dobbs is a solid move for them for the value they for the
if
value
you're Mac
they give
Jones, you got to be like, damn.
Well,
I'm not even better than Dobbs.
Well, I was gonna say that's actually the thing. So think about it. Like, this is Mac Jones here that apparently did not get one trade. There was not one trade request.
Not one call.
Not
one.
I don't know, man.
That's bad.
I mean, Zach Wilson might be a starter in this league more than Mac is. Oh boy.
That's bad.
Not that we're giving him any help. I mean,
no. I mean, let's not act like Zach Wilson won a good game last week. He played like shit. The Giants just outshitted him.
They let up like 10 points a game, and they just.
I also think that Zach Wilson only completed like 6 more passes than the Giants, and they only completed 5. So,
and he's also. I mean, it's not an insane weapon group, but Brees Hall is legit, and Garrett Wilson is like, I think if Garrett Wilson
Oh,
had
no,
Aaron
no.
Rodgers,
Compared to the Pats, they're the greatest
oh my
show on
God.
turf.
I think Garrett Wilson with Rodgers is a top 5, maybe even 3 receiver in the
Oh, no, I
league.
agree. He's up there. He's up
Which
there.
well, I guess we'll see next year. As
They were
long
going
as
to
all
hit that
happens.
fade pass that him and Devontae hit all those years in Green Bay.
Oh my
They were
God.
going to hit that every
Oh.
time in the red zone. They were going to be insane on that play.
Yeah, he would have been I think he would have been a Devontae.
We saw it in the preseason.
Yeah, of course. And honestly, new owner or not new ownership, new management, GM, coach, whatever, come in over the offseason with the Raiders. I mean, if Devontae's maybe threatening to hold out because he's done with being here,
Might as well
I
send
mean,
him to the Jets.
The Jets could be calling, dude. And in that case, as long as they don't lose so many pieces and all goes well, I mean, that's a team that's fucking dangerous, dude. In that case,
Oh, yeah.
But we're thinking it too far ahead. That's locked in. Cowboys, Eagles. Eagles are going to be home in this one. 3-point favorites at home. 47's the over under. Eagles have been a little shaky as we've been mentioned.
They've been shaky, but when's the last time the Cowboys won like a big game where you're like, yeah, go Cowboys?
And at the link, it's going to be rocking. It's going to be. I don't even know how many people fill up.
To
that
me,
stadium.
there's no shot in hell the
people
Cowboys win this
screaming.
game. There's no shot.
Yeah,
I borderline think
I
the
like
Eagles
Eagles
blow
here.
them out.
It's possible, and the Cowboys go up and down. They're a yo-yo. They're a yo-yo team.
They are
just
a
go
yo-yo.
like this and that.
They're a joke, is what they are.
I think the Eagles win this game, but this is not going to be. This is not going to be. I don't think this is going to be the game that everyone thinks. I really think it's going to be a pull away game, maybe for the Eagles. I think you're right.
Oh, I think the Eagles win by 17.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That says a lot about Dak.
I think Dak throws 2 ugly picks in this game. And I'm a Dak guy. I'm a Dak supporter when it's warranted. But yeah, this is going to be a rough weekend for Dak.
No, it is. No, it literally is. Sunday Night Football. Bills going to Cincy. Bengals are 2-point favorites at home, 49.5. What a turnaround. And we talked about this last week. What a turnaround this Bengals team is hoping to make this season. Burrow's healthy. They just beat the Niners, albeit the banged up Niners, but impressive game coming off a bye. Burrow looks 100%. This is going to be an interesting game. This is the same game we saw last year, Sunday Night Football, where it's 2 teams that are, big hopes heading into a primetime game. Obviously, we know what happened last year. But this game is going to be interesting because 49.5, I don't think 49.5 is super high. I think that everyone's banking on the Bengals maybe to fall down to earth on what they were in the first half of the season, or the first segment of the season, I guess. But I'm going Bengals here. I think the Bengals win. I actually tweeted this yesterday. So I hit on one leg of a parlay having the Texas Rangers win the World Series. And then the second leg is the Cincinnati Bengals to win the Super Bowl. And then it's a pretty solid payout here. So I might, and the Bengals, I've been on them all year. That was my Super Bowl pick. Burrow is my MVP. The MVP is probably too far gone for Burrow, but I think I might double down here and come out and say it. I think I might double down on the Super Bowl. Bengals, give me the Bengals. I think they get hot. I think the fact that there were rumors that T. Higgins might get moves and that he didn't, it's like, all right, we're all in. You believed in me. I'm probably walking in free agency. But that shows that you want to win now and you want to go after it. They don't have much they didn't have much capital, much flexibility in their cap to, make an addition at the deadline. But I think that they had all the pieces going in.
Yeah, it's not really like they had to make any pieces. That's part of the reason it was so concerning that they started out so slow, because it was like, I mean, there's really no holes on this roster. You're not performing.
The only hole is at tight end, but when you have three
receivers, it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. When you have 3, maybe the best trio of receivers in the league, maybe outside of the Vikings. I mean, it's you don't really need a tight end like that. Just get a guy that can block for some run and some pass protection. So give me the Bengals in this one. What do you think? Honestly, and give me the over. I'll take the over. I think this is gonna be a high scoring game. What about
I'll
you?
take the over in the Bengals as well. We got the same exact pick. I think they're gonna come out flying. I think both teams will. This is the kind of game that both of these teams have a history of taking some opponents too lightly, but every time it's against one of the top teams in the AFC, they both come out ready to perform and ready to go. So I think it's going to be a great game. I think Allen throws another bad pick at some point
Yeah.
that determines the winner of this game while Burrow takes care of the ball.
That'll be the difference. And, I mean, we'll know why, Uh, it's going to be a fun one, though. I think this is
Yeah.
going to be. I think this is game of the week.
This is
So you
game of
wanna-
the week for sure. Game of the
but
week.
we're
for
on the
sure.
same side. Okay, maybe we'll be on different sides on this one.
I mean,
Chargers,
outside of Washington, New England, that's the game of the week.
yeah. I thought you were gonna say Tipsy Bowl of the week, and I was like, oh yeah, and then you're like game of the week. Like, no.
No, it's game of the week.
I think this might be Tipsy Bowl because I
Aren't
feel like
Nance and Romo on the Pats Commanders?
is it? There's
I don't
no
know.
shot.
I'm just fucking around.
If that was the case, I mean, Belichick would have to be like announcing that he's like moving to the Commanders at halftime in order for
Dude,
Romo
Bill,
to be
Bill
on the
would
call.
have to announce that he's going on like
He's playing
some trip to
quarterback.
climb Mount Everest.
He's
for that to be, like,
he's
game
gonna
of the
play
week.
quarterback for the rest of the game. And that's why Romo's on the call.
Would he get more touchdowns than Mac though?
He can move.
Bill's a shifty guy.
He's got a background in lacrosse.
Get him in the
football.
pocket. He's gonna make some plays, man.
He's a
He
Navy
knows how to read
guy.
a defense at least.
Oh yeah. He could. Oh my God. Can you imagine all the fucking Omahas he'd be doing? He'd reinvent the Peyton Omaha.
He's like Omaha.
Yeah. He'd have his own little.
His
gig.
O line would be like, Bill, what the fuck are you saying?
We get a delay a game every single play because he'd be fucking making so many adjustments. You gotta snap it. Okay. Monday Night Football. Last game we'll touch on and then go into some storylines. Chargers heading to MetLife. Jets are home in this one. 3.5 point underdogs are the Jets, and 40 is the over under here. I think this might be Tipsy Bowl of the week because as much as I want to believe in Herbert and those guys,
oh yeah, this is Tipsy Bowl of the week. Oh yeah.
I am going with the Jets. I don't want to make it a thing where this is 2 weeks in a row where I'm going with the Jets. I don't want to make it a thing, but I do want to say I don't believe in the Chargers until the Chargers get rid of their fucking head coach. Until he's out.
I'm so happy you led into that because I'm going to talk about it when I take the Chargers.
Go ahead, because I've said enough.
Wow.
I can't take them with that coach. I'm
Fair
going
enough.
Jets.
I'm taking the Chargers to win purely because Justin Herbert is the fucking man, and he is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Obviously, he's far better than Tua. I don't care what anyone says. Put Herbert on Miami, they win the Super Bowl. They won't because they have Tua. So there's one. Bill Belichick is going to be the coach of the LA Chargers. And you know I've been saying this for over a year now. I have been saying this for a long time. It is perfect. You have the quarterback there. You're chasing down the win record. You need an established quarterback to do so. You need somewhat of a built roster already. They have that. It's not like they need a bunch of picks to rebuild a team or anything. So they can give up those picks to get you. Bill going to the Chargers would be their rebuild. They would then have a 2 to 3 year window to make something happen. I think it's a match made in heaven. I think it's perfect.
And I think at least how I pictured it, and I think most Pats fans pictured it, seeing Brady go, it was sad, but it was like, I'm happy for him. He has a good situation. He has what he wants. I'd feel the same about Bill. I'd feel bad just because it didn't end as nicely as the Brady era ended, coming off a Super Bowl the year before he left, whatever it was.
Right.
But I just think there's something there. I mean, if Bill goes, it's cool, man. I mean, imagine, and it does a lot for his legacy. If he goes there and immediately changes that cursed culture in LA, I love that actually, Ben. I like that a lot.
Oh, and also
that'd be cool.
What is that? What is Bill? I mean, it could go the opposite way. Take this with a grain of salt.
It could go, yeah.
What does that do to a guy like Eckler? Does a guy like Eckler not say to himself, "Hey, I'm getting a little bit older. I don't know how much more time I have."
He wants to get paid too.
Does he stay with the Chargers? Is that more of an incentive for him to take maybe a little below market value to stay with them? Yeah. I think there's endless possibilities with how that match could go.
And I think it'll become more of a thing where people will ring chase and go over to
similar
LA.
to what they did with Tom in Tampa. Players will go there because they want to play for him. Yeah, and I mean, that's the one interesting thing. It's because will they want to play for him? Obviously, everyone is like, oh, it's not a great culture. They don't want to play with this, whatever. I think people would go past that and they'd see the potential of a roster that's this good
with a guy that can change, the only guy probably in the world that can change that, the stigma and the
Right.
curse of the Chargers. So I'm
The-
interesting. This is Tipsy Bowl of the week,
We're
I
kind
believe,
of
right?
the whole thing about Bill right now is we're kind of meshing Bill, and rightfully so. We're meshing Bill the GM into Bill the coach, which Bill is the GM and the coach, so it's completely understandable as to
Uh-huh.
why we're doing that. Bill the coach is still one of the 3 best coaches on Sunday. He's just coaching a horrendous team because he doesn't know how to build one anymore. So
Yeah.
if you put him with the Chargers, with that team that's already set up with tremendous amounts of talent, they're going to do damage.
Yeah. No, yeah. I completely agree here. I think that would be a really cool fit. And for this game in Monday Night Football this week, I'm going to be on the Jets. You'll be on the Chargers. You're taking the money line. You're taking them -3.5, or
I'll
yeah,
take them to
-3.5.
cover.
Okay. A little bit more confident there. All right, let's get into some storylines. NFL storylines. Ben, and I can go first on this one. What team do you think screwed up the most by not selling at the deadline? I'll take the lead on this one. I'm going to go ahead and say the Las Vegas Raiders. All right. Not the surprising answer. Probably maybe the most obvious pick. I
That's
know
why
that
some
you've got
guys got
one.
fired, I'd say.
I think, and I have this kind of theory going on right here. I think what happened is, it's been going on too long, whatever. There was forces. The owner was getting forced, and even he wanted to, Mark Davis, move on from these guys, McDaniels and I believe it's Seifert, their
Yep.
GM.
Yep.
And so they both get fired last night. Okay, they move on from them. But if you knew, as an ownership, as player personnel guys, anyone in that category, if you know that this isn't happening. Josh Jacobs is on a 1-year deal. Devontae Adams is here, and he's very upset, especially after that last game. Hunter Renfrow has barely been used, and he's a very talented receiver, at least.
And we've seen it. We've seen it for so long.
Yeah, we've seen it for so long, and honestly, it's been weird because they signed Jacoby Myers from the Pats, and they put him doing what Hunter Renfrow is doing, and then they tone out Hunter Renfrow. It doesn't make sense. Why would you do that?
And there's definitely guys who would love to add a guy like Hunter Renfrow to their team. So
yeah, so the Raiders, in my eyes, they screwed up the most. I mean, what could a team like the Chiefs do with a Josh Jacobs on a 1-year rental? What could any number of teams use a Josh Jacobs? The Eagles could have even grabbed him and added some extra padding. Screw it. What is it going to take? A 5th-round pick nowadays? The fucking Niners get another good running back behind that O-line.
Yep.
I mean, there are so many. The Lions. I mean, the Lions are a huge one. Can you imagine the Lions with Josh Jacobs and Gibbs running that thing, and then David Montgomery comes back and he's your power back? I mean,
that might be too much.
Well, I mean, but is there too much? Because you can get a really solid running back on a 1-year rental. It's like bolstering your relief pitching and grabbing a guy like Aroldis Chapman.
It's a bit similar,
for the playoffs. I mean, it's obviously there's some differences there, but that's how I view a deadline move like this. Obviously, Devontae Adams is much different, but
a lot of insurance there as well in doing that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, exactly. You see issues with injuries all the time down the stretch, and teams lose hope. That would prevent that. And then it's not even like he can't receive either. As just a productive back for any team. Devontae Adams, though, he's a bona fide superstar already in this league. Been like that for a couple years now, and he could have got moved. I mean, he's gonna be upset. He's gonna probably want out in the offseason. And if not, he's gonna be playing with what? Well, who's your quarterback? Aiden O'Connell? Is it Jimmy G? He's miserable. You should have moved
Rightfully
them.
So.
Rightfully so. Yeah, you should have moved them. I mean, there are a bunch of teams that could use a number one receiver. There's not one team in the league that can't use another receiver that's that good. Obviously, he would have been more in terms of capital. But then you look at a couple other guys. I mean, Hunter Renfrow, like we said, that's an obvious one that you could have moved.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of situations here where you could just move off a certain guy. Honestly, the only people I'd say in that franchise that's untouchable, probably just Max Crosby.
I was just about to say Crosby.
It's probably just Max Crosby, and he is a superstar. I love him. He's the man. That's the only guy that I think was untouchable there. But I just don't understand. I just don't understand what we're doing here. Like,
Yeah,
why
there's no
aren't
logic.
why aren't we rebuilding? What coach is gonna come in and make Jimmy G look like a MVP, and all of a sudden Devontae's gonna want to play, and then what? What are you gonna do with Josh Jacobs? You're gonna sign him for a long-term deal after a down year like this,
No.
or are they purposely making him, have like less touches, less
I mean,
like help, so
with
that
the-
they don't have to give him a big deal? Like,
with the
what's
more and
happening here?
more details that we get on Josh McDaniels, and frankly, how much of a
Oh my God,
scumbag he
everyone
seems
hates
to
him.
be,
Everyone
like how
hates
much of
him.
an asshole he seems to be, it would not surprise me at all if he purposely frees Jacobs out of the offense
Yeah.
so that they wouldn't have to pay him. Like something like that wouldn't surprise me with him.
Yeah, and I actually think I think that this right here, this stint in Vegas was his worst stint of his
Yes.
career.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
I'm not even looking at it from a
Yes.
record standpoint. I'm looking at it from a culture
Just
standpoint.
everything.
Every
Everything was
single
bad.
person hated him. I mean, he was so hated that fucking Chandler Jones, who was having this whole thing, on social media, personal life, whatever it was, he was like he was on fucking Instagram Live saying that he fucking killed Aaron Hernandez. Like you're getting a dude that's out here saying that he killed people. He was involved in murders, covering up murders. Like, you're obviously doing something wrong as a head coach. Not saying he did it. Obviously, I do not know anything about that situation. But this guy lost the locker room so much that there's players accusing him of murder. Like, can you imagine that? Like, nobody liked him. Nobody liked him in that locker room.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you saw it today when they were playing pickup basketball in the locker room. Everyone's happy. Devontae Adams is like dunking on people.
No,
like,
I've never seen, outside of maybe Hugh Jackson, I've never seen a coach more disliked by his team and it be more apparent after he got fired. I've never seen a situation like it.
Oh yeah, it's pure hate. Pure hate.
And he's kind of screwed people over in the past. I mean, remember the Colts thing where he got the job and was about to get on the plane or something?
That was a sticky situation.
And then all of a sudden he went back to the Pats. I mean, I'm happy he came back to the Pats. We won another Super Bowl. But kind of a dick move. Not even kind of, it just is a dick move.
Yeah, it's something you just don't do. I mean,
no, not at all.
Not at okay, all. Who do you think screwed up? What team do you think screwed up the most here?
It's the team that's been screwing up the most all year. It's the New England Patriots. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You haven't extended any of the talent that you have on your roster, the very minimal talent, and it's all on the defensive side of the ball.
Uh-huh.
You haven't extended any of those guys. You have a history of not paying anyone. And yet you hold on to them in the hopes of what? You go 7-10, maybe? Best case scenario, you go 7-10? And then the thing that pissed me off the most about it, I saw a report early in the week, I believe it was Albert Breer. I think he said something like, Pats pre-deadline, not giving up on the season, still trying to figure it out. Figure what out? Figure what out? You're horrible. It's taking this long to realize you're horrible? Well, what's it going to take? Honestly, the thing that really pisses me off, I want Bill to get the record. I know a lot of people don't care about it. I personally want to see him get the record. And most ideally, it would be in New England with him coaching good teams. But at this point, that's not a reality. That's not how it's going to happen. At least not for the next year. He made a selfish decision to try to squeak out as many wins as possible this season rather than trading away assets, valuable assets. A guy like Josh Uche, you could get a decent enough pick out of that, and a pick that you've shown in the past, a 4th, 5th round pick. You do better with that than you do first round picks when you're the Patriots, apparently.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you try to move for another piece like that? I love Kyle Duggar. Love him to death. Think he's
great.
One of the more underrated players in the entire league. Mm-hmm. Would never want to see him go. but you haven't extended him yet. And you've been trying to extend him for going on a year now. So if you weren't going to reach a deal by now, and the season's gone as bad as it has, outside of overpaying him, which you're not going to do because you've never done it, you didn't even do it for Tom fucking Brady, why wouldn't you have moved him for a second round or third round pick, which is what a guy like him is worth? So
Yeah.
I really don't understand what they were trying to do. I know a lot of people were complaining about not trading O-linemen. You can't do that. You really can't do that because then you're making Mac more of a sitting duck than he already is. And you're putting the guy's fucking health in jeopardy.
Yeah, and the
Which
games
would
become unwatchable.
exactly. And then if you want to trade Mac in the offseason from a more business perspective, how are you going to elevate any of his trade value if you're just letting him get hit every 5 seconds? He's not even able to move the ball the second half of the year. So I really didn't even understand that. And then if you're going to buy into this whole, well, we want to ride it out and see how many wins we can get,
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't you trade for a receiver when your number one guy just hurt his knee, tore his ACL, and he's out for the entire season? So really what you did made no sense on either front. It made no sense from
Yeah.
the let's try to figure it out end of things, which makes no sense in itself. And it also makes no sense in the let's rebuild part of things. So really none of it had any logic to it. I hated it. I would rather you just sell off anything of value that you're not gonna any guys that you're not gonna extend, like I just said. It really just made no sense to me.
Okay, and then last question I have for you, Ben. What team, what franchise do you think is in the worst position right now? Entire league. If you need a second, I've got one.
You go first. You go
Okay.
first. I want to see who you choose.
So not. I don't want to be repetitive here, so I'm not going to go with the Raiders. You could if you want. The team that I'm going to say is probably in the worst position in the entire league, and like, there's different ways to look at it. Obviously, I'm not going off of worst record, worst this, least picks. It's a accumulation of all these things.
Right.
All right, the team that I'm going to go, there's two teams I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at the LA Rams, which is probably a surprising one,
I don't
and
think so. I don't think so.
and then the New York Giants.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna say is I'm gonna go with the Giants. All right. So here's my perspective here.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
They're 2-6. Okay, they're 2-6. They have no semblance of offense. Ben, guess how many passing yards they had last week?
27.
-9. They had
Holy
-9
shit.
passing yards last week.
Oh
Well,
man.
that's what it says. I mean, Tyrod
No,
had
well,
8
that's-
passing yards. DeVito had -1.
No, but that's like the team cumulative yards in the air.
Cumulative in the air, yes. Yes, they did move the ball on the ground a bit.
compared to the passing game.
Well,
yes.
Saquon got 36 carries. Poor fucking
That's so
guy.
absurd.
That poor guy. Here's what I'm gonna say. Right, I like Dable a lot. I like him a lot. I don't think he's nearly the problem.
I do too.
What
I
I
like
will
him a lot
say-
as well.
What I will say though is, I think that Daniel Jones' situation is up there as worst in the league because you just gave him. You didn't even
Yep.
get a quarter of the season through without people quitting on him off a fresh contract,
Which we
Okay.
said before the year.
which we've talked about. Yep. So that I'd probably I'd put that as a D situation. I'm not giving it an F. That's a D situation for them. Then I'd say Dable, it's a B- situation. All right, because he won Coach of the Year. He's got all the chops to make a good team, but this year's been very rough. So not a huge problem, right? Saquon, that's where we start getting into the Fs, in my opinion. I think it's an F situation there because the only way you get production out of the guy is if you run him 36 times and give him 3 dump off receptions for 0 yards. Okay, it's disgusting. All right, you're gonna break this guy. This guy's career is gonna be ruined, and people are gonna forget about him in 5 years.
I think it might already be ruined.
And people are gonna forget about him in 5 years because what is his legacy gonna be? because he
He
was
had
never
potential, but he
he had
got stuck on the
potential.
Giants.
Exactly.
That's going to be his legacy.
That's exactly right. There's not much to go off of based off of his career so far, and it doesn't seem like it's trending upwards. What do you do with him? What, he's on a 1-year deal where they franchise tag him? So what do you do with him? You didn't trade him at the deadline. Do you move him in the offseason? Do you re-sign him? What do you do? What's the way to go here? I think he leaves for free. Honestly, that's the only way I see it going.
Yeah.
I think they are just in such a bad relationship that no matter how much the Giants offer Saquon, he wants the fuck out.
He should go to the Bills. He really should just go to
He
the
would be
Bills.
sick with the Bills, even if he just like got 8 receptions a game and like
Yeah,
8
like,
carries.
rarely rush it. Just kind of be an Eckler option for
Exactly.
the Bills.
So that's where I give an F. I also give an F to their entire receiving core. Darren Waller comes in. Yeah, I think he's leading the team in receiving, but he hasn't lit it up.
Horrible.
He hasn't lit it up. I mean, you got Wan'Dale Robinson, you've got Darius Slayton, Darius Slayton. You got Daniel Bellinger, another tight end. You've got obviously Isaiah Hodgkins. They have no difference makers on that offense. Darren Waller
none.
is a difference maker, but he is not being used as one. And for a former tight ends coach in Brian Dable, it's embarrassing. This defense has been very underwhelming. Thibodeau had 3 yes, he had 3 sacks last week, but they were as gimmicky as they could be, not taking anything away from it, but they were not impressive sacks. They were not impressive rushes. I think Dexter Lawrence is the best piece you have on this entire team. And then second, I'd probably go Thibodeau now that, Leonard Williams is gone, but they're obviously in a selling mindset. Isaiah Simmons has not been the home run of a trade that you've wanted, even though he has helped. This whole team is in trouble, man. And this is a team that made the playoffs last year. This is a team that everyone's going crazy about. I had people hitting me up, getting mad about my takes on the Giants and how I was so down on them. You're 1 year removed. You're 1 year removed and 1 year away, and they are now from being a bottom fucking 5 team. And look what happens. Now there's no direction for this franchise to go in. There's absolutely no direction for this franchise to go in. You got to move off Saquon, Daniel Jones. Who knows what you do defensively? I mean, you just gave Dexter Lawrence a huge contract. He's gonna rot there for the next few years. Thibodeau, who knows? It's a bad situation, and the worst part about it is that you are in New York, and every single mistake is just gonna be
amplified.
Exactly. So that's my team for worst franchise position right now. What about you? Who do you got?
Can I cheat and use 2? One that might be a bit surprising to people. So the one I'm going to go with that's a bit surprising is the Vikings. I think the Vikings
that's good. I like
are
that.
in a really bad spot. And the reason I say that is they're kind of in that a lot earlier than I expected it to be. They're kind of in that post Chris Carter, Randy Moss era that they were in before in the mid 2000s. They have Justin Jefferson and a pile of shit. They have nothing. And Kirk just tore his Achilles. His contract was up anyway, I believe. And he's what? He's going to be 36, or he is already 36. They're in a terrible spot. They really, T.J. Hawkinson's a good player, but they haven't rebuilt this roster the way that they planned on, and the defense is just disgusting to watch. It's horrible. They selected. I'm sorry, is his name Kevin O'Connell, their head coach?
Yeah.
Kevin O'Connell. They selected him purely for Kirk. And it's looking like Kirk might be out next year. Obviously, we don't know yet. He very well could be back. But even if he's back, is he going to be the same Kirk? Who knows? And even if he is the same Kirk, has that been enough to win you games, or the big ones at least? No, it hasn't. So I really think that they're in a really tough spot, and I think it's a team that people really aren't monitoring as kind of a dumpster fire right now and not really trending in the right direction. But another team, it should be the obvious one. And the only thing that's making me think maybe they're not in as bad of a spot as maybe I'm overreacting a bit, but it's the Pats. The Pats, the whole Patriot way culture, all that shit. it's seeming to have gone out the window. And that's usually, you know this about me, that's usually something that I lean into when a team who's been successful in the past has seemed to hit a downturn or a bit of a slow period in their franchise. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, history of sports always repeats itself. They have a great culture. They're going to do this, they're going to do that, blah, 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 blah. They have none of that right now. None of it. And they have no talent. It's looking like Bill's on his way out the door. And who knows, maybe that could be a good thing, but I'm going to assume that it's a negative thing,
Mm-hmm.
given that he's the best thing. And yes, I'm going to say over Tom Brady, Bill Belichick is the best thing to ever happen to that franchise, because without Bill Belichick, you don't have Tom Brady. Tom Brady does not become Tom Brady without Bill Belichick. And at the very least, he's not even on the Patriots because Bill's the guy who fucking took him. But they're in a really bad spot. It was looking like Mac was the guy after his rookie year. He is clearly not that anymore. We really haven't helped him at all. At this point, to me, he is an example of how to ruin a young quarterback now, which I never thought I would say about the Pats. But he is.
Yeah.
We've done to him what the Jets have done to their young guys, like Sam Darnold and guys like that. Even Geno Smith really didn't support them with anything at all. Didn't coach them properly, and kind of screwed them over. And we did the same thing with Mac. So I think they're in a really tough spot. A really tough spot.
I agree. I think that's good. I think both those are good picks. I think the Vikings one's a very good take. You're right. It's a very underwhelming roster masked by a top 3 receiving core with
Yeah,
Hawkinson involved,
yeah,
and I
and that's
mean
not
it's
sustainable.
no, and it puts you in a bad situation because the guys that you're not supposed to necessarily give too much money to are tight end,
Right.
receiver. That's where the money's going for them, at least, or where it will be when all the contracts come up. So I agree. Good points there. Yeah, so week 9 slate coming up. If you're watching it through, thank you so much. Comment that you watched it fully through, and go and sign up for Underdog Fantasy using promo code Tipsy. All you need to do is deposit $10. You do us solid. It's a great app, and we're really excited with this partnership. So we'll see you guys next week. Follow us on all socials, Tipsy Tailgate Media, and make sure to like and subscribe. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.